You know that feeling? You start thinking about a new car, and suddenly you look around and it seems like every single vehicle on the road is an SUV. It's one of those things, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Well, today, we're going to dig into that. We're going to decode the SUV. So let's just get right to it. Are SUVs really taking over our roads? And if they are, why? What's the big deal? Because this isn't just some passing trend, you know? It's a huge shift in what we all choose to drive. And we are going to get to the bottom of it. So, that feeling I mentioned, turns out it is absolutely not just in your head. Check out this one number that tells the whole story, 51.1%. Yep, that's right. More than half of all new vehicles sold last year were SUVs. The takeover is very, very real. And to really put that 51% figure into perspective, take a look at the full market breakdown. This comes straight from the 2025 report by ANAC, that's Chile's National Automotive Association. I mean, look at this. SUVs don't just lead the pack, they completely dominate it. Their slice of the pie is bigger than passenger cars, pickup trucks, and commercial vehicles combined. That's not just a trend, folks. That's a revolution in what we're putting in our driveways. Okay, so how are we going to make sense of all this? Well, we've got a roadmap for you. First, we'll dive into the data behind this SUV invasion. Then we'll figure out what's the big deal. Why does everyone want one? After that, we'll check out some of the top contenders for 2026. Then, and this is important, we'll learn how to think like a pro, not just a consumer. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a simple framework to help you find your perfect match. All right, let's jump right in. Section 1, the SUV invasion. We're going to kick things off by looking at the hard numbers, because we need to understand what is really happening on our roads. And just so you know where we're getting our intel, our main source here is that 2025 Automotive Market Report from ANAC. This isn't guesswork, it's the official data on sales, market segments, where these cars are coming from, the whole shebang, so we know we're looking at the real picture. And that same report, well, it uncovers something that might actually surprise you. Whatever you think you know about where cars are made, you might want to put that aside for a second, because today, China manufactures over 41% of the vehicles sold in this market. Let that sink in. That is more than India and Japan put together. It's a massive, massive shift in the global auto industry, and it has huge implications for everything from price to the tech inside your dashboard. So, we've seen the numbers, and they are huge. But numbers only tell part of the story, right? So let's move on to Section 2 and ask the big question. What's the big deal? Why is this actually happening? Let's get into the core appeal that's driving this SUV phenomenon. First things first, let's make sure we're all on the same page. What even is an SUV anymore? Well, according to CarWow, it's basically a vehicle with that higher driving position and a tough, robust look, but one that's really been adapted for city and family life. Yeah, its roots might be in serious off-roading, but its modern identity, that's all about handling the everyday jungle. So what's the magic formula? Why does everyone want one? Well, it really boils down to a few key things. You get that generous interior space for people and stuff. You're sitting up high, which gives you a commanding view of the road, much better visibility. There's the versatility, right? It feels like it can handle the city, the highway, maybe even a late trail. And of course, there's the look, that modern, rugged aesthetic that just says, I'm ready for anything. Okay, but let's be real. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's super important to look at the trade-offs. Generally, an SUV is going to drink more fuel than a similar sedan. That higher center of gravity, it can make them feel a bit, well, less nimble when you're taking a corner. And yeah, they usually come with a higher sticker price right from the start. All right, so that's the theory, the pros and the cons. Now let's get to the fun part in Section 3, the 2026 contenders. We're going to move from these general ideas and look at some specific models you might actually be thinking about, and we'll frame them for different types of drivers. First up, let's talk about the premium all-rounder. This is for the driver who really values that refinement, that premium feel. And for that, we're looking at the BMW X1. Think of this as the choice for someone who wants that perfect mix of high quality, cool tech, and a genuinely sporty feel behind the wheel. So, what's the verdict? Well, according to CarWow's breakdown, the X1 really shines with its top-notch interior quality and that exciting, fun-to-drive feel. Plus, having a wide variety of engines to choose from is a huge win. Now, on the flip side, some versions get lower-tier eco labels, which, depending on where you live, could mean higher taxes. They also pointed out that some of the controls could be a bit more user-friendly, and, well, the base model's engine isn't exactly going to set any speed records. Okay, next up, we have a totally different vibe. This one is for the buyer who's playing the long game. We're calling it the smart investment, the Mazda CX-30. What's cool about this one is that it's not trying to be flashy or something it isn't. It's positioned as a smart, solid, reliable investment in pure quality. And the folks at Motortop just nailed it. They called it a vehicle that is well-made, balanced, and honest. I mean, in a market that's just screaming with flashy promises and crazy tech, that focus on fundamental, honest-to-goodness quality is what really makes it stand out. This is a car that feels like it's just built to last. And for our third contender, we're taking another sharp turn. Let's talk about the urban adventurer, the Duster. Now, this is an SUV for the real world. This is for the person who needs a car that can handle messy city streets, bumpy country roads, and just the chaos of everyday life, all without any fuss. And I absolutely love this quote from Motortop because it perfectly captures the soul of the Duster. They say, it's an SUV for using every day without fear, stress, or suffering. That's it, right there. It's not about fancy leather or giant screens. It's about durability, down-to-earth practicality, and that amazing peace of mind you get from knowing your car can take a beating and just keep on going. All right, this next part is crucial. We're going to pivot a bit in section 4 and learn how to think like a pro. This is where we're going to challenge that common idea that the most popular car is automatically the best car for you. So let's look at the hard data. Straight from that ONIC report again, here are the top 5 best-selling SUVs of 2025. You can see the models, the brands, and just look at the sheer number of units sold. This is what the market as a whole is buying up in massive numbers. But, and this is the key takeaway of this whole section, the car at the top of the sales chart is not automatically the right car for your reality. Think about the Duster we just talked about. It's probably never going to top a sales list like this one. But for the person who needs that rugged, no-nonsense practicality, it's a way smarter, more intelligent purchase than any of these other models if they don't fit that specific need. And all of that brings us right to our final section, finding your perfect match. We're going to wrap everything up now by giving you a simple but really powerful framework to help you make your own choice. And really, it all boils down to this super simple 3-step process. Step 1, define your reality. Be honest, are you battling traffic in the city every day, or are you cruising down open country roads? Step 2, prioritize your needs. What actually matters most to you? Is it the latest tech, the most cargo space you can get, or just rock-solid, bulletproof reliability? And finally, step 3. Test drive for your life. And I mean it. Don't just do a quick loop around the block. Take it on your actual commute. Try to park it in your usual spots. See how it fits into your real life. So there's no doubt about it. Today, the SUV is king of the road. It absolutely reigns supreme. But as we look to the future, the big question is, will that dominance continue? As the entire market shifts towards fully electric vehicles, will the SUV's high riding, do anything shape adapt and stay on top? Or are we about to see a totally new champion emerge? Now that is something to think about.